Alright crew, I get it. The SAC's coming up and you're probably feeling a little stressed right now and not sure how to answer questions. It's perfectly normal. And today I'm hoping by watching this video you have a better understanding of how the questions are structured and how we want your answers structured. So let's get into it. So our first question here is define price elasticity of supply and justify whether the supply of broccoli is likely to be price elastic or price inelastic. 3 marks. How do we get those marks? Well, remember, every question you ever answer, you need to define the key economic term. In this question here, it's price elasticity of supply. So what I would want you to do in order to get full marks for this question is first, define what price elasticity of supply is. Tell us the difference between a high and low PES, so we know that you actually know what you're talking about. And then explain how broccoli is either low or high in elasticity. So this is the breakdown of the marks right here. And if you follow that format, this is how I expect an answer to be written. I've even color coded it for you, so please feel free to pause the video and take a look. Alright, let's move on. So explain whether cigarettes or any other product can be used as an example of a good containing a negative externality in production or consumption. In your answer, make reference to market failure. This one's worth 4 marks. So, again, key economic term we need to define here is negative externalities. So show us that you understand what it is. 2 marks for demonstrating an understanding on how a third party is negatively impacted via production or consumption of cigarettes. And then the last mark comes from making reference to market failure. So you can see here, all the key things you need in order to answer the questions already practically in front of your face. We need to define define negative externalities. Tell us how cigarettes is an example of a good that is a negative externality in consumption. Then you need to make reference to market failure in your response. If you've done it correctly, it should look something like this. Again, feel free to pause and take a look. Alrighty. Another one. List 2 ways the government can intervene to address the market failure of cigarettes. And explain how it can help to achieve a more efficient allocation of resources. So, 2 ways of intervening. So it's split down the middle. There's 2 marks for explaining how one intervention occurs and how it achieves a more efficient allocation of resources. And then 2 marks allocated to another form of government intervention and how that makes it a more efficient allocation of resources. So your response should look something like this. So in the first one here we talk about indirect taxes, elaborate on how indirect taxes work, and then tell them how it's a more efficient allocation of resources. And then do the same again with regulations. How do regulations improve the allocation of resources? Alright, last one. So explain how government intervention in the market of cigarettes, or any other contemporary example, can unintentionally have a negative impact on allocative efficiency. So here I want you to demonstrate an understanding of allocative efficiency. So the best way of demonstrating an understanding is defining it. So yeah, remember the key economic term. Define the key economic term. I can't stress this enough. It's an easy, 1 mark here out of 4. So that's a easy 25%. Right there. Think about it. Alright, next bit. 1 mark for linking the tax or any other government intervention to a negative unintended consequence. So you should be able to tell us how cigarettes or something else, the government has good intentions, but it leads to other side effects that they didn't consider. And then 2 marks for explaining how the government intervention can negatively impact on allocative efficiency. So, if you want the crux of it, define, answer the question, and then link them back together. That's all there is to it, crew. And this is what it should look like. Now, The SAC that you're going to be doing will have similar questions. They're not going to be exactly the same, but you can guarantee we're going to ask you something along the lines of what you've been experiencing on those practice papers we've given you. There shouldn't be any surprises if you actually do your homework and your revision. Okay, before you go, I just want you to see the layout of my response. Do you see how I paragraph each section reflecting each mark? You should be doing the same. We call this signposting, and it makes it so much easier for an examiner to go through your work and look for the marks they're looking for. Remember, the less fatigued they are at finding your marks, the more likely you'll get those full marks. So please, use your economics to your advantage. And good luck. If you have any questions, feel free to contact myself or Mr. Stone. We'll give you a hand. Catch you later.